PARCA Technical Section 6.2 covers methods of authentication, certificates, algorithms, and two-factor authentication. A digital certificate is a file or electronic password that provides the authenticity of a device, server, or user through the use of cryptography and the public key infrastructure. PARCA loves three-letter acronyms, and they will use PKI frequently to mean public key infrastructure. A digital certificate is necessary for a digital signature because it provides the public key that can be used to validate the private key. And we've talked about public and private keys before, so a digital certificate is a public key. It's known to the public, but your actual digital signature is a private key, and it gets validated against the public key. So digital certificates make it possible for a digital signature to be used as a way to authenticate digital information. An algorithm is a set of instructions that the computer needs to perform a specific sequence in order to complete a specific task. And there are three types of algorithms: recursive, serial, and parallel. A recursive algorithm is an algorithm that calls itself with simpler or smaller input values, which obtains results for the current input by applying simple operations to return value for the smaller, simpler input. It invokes itself repeatedly until certain conditions are met. That is an incredibly complicated, complex definition, but to explain that, I want you to imagine a long column of numbers that needs to be added up. You've got 20 numbers, and you've got to add them up. If you used a recursive algorithm, it would, for example, add up all the tens. So you run the recursive algorithm, it'll add up all the 9s and 1s. Then it'll add up all the 8s and 2s. Then it will run itself again and add up all the 7s and 3s. Then it will run itself again and add up all the 6s and 4s. And then run itself again and add up all the 5s and 5s. And once it's eliminated all the 10s, it'll have a total. And then it will add up all the leftover numbers to get to the total. So that's a simple example. It's not exactly how a recursive algorithm works, but basically that's the idea. It takes the task and breaks it down into smaller bites that are very simple to do, like adding up all the 10s, and then leaves the hard part for the end. And so it runs many, many times. When it says it invokes itself repeatedly, it will run itself over and over and over until it completes the task. A serial algorithm is an algorithm that is executed sequentially, once through from start to finish, without other processing executing. So again, to go back to our long column of numbers, if you did it with a serial algorithm, it would just add up the first two numbers, then it would add the third number, then the fourth number, fifth number. It would work its way down that column of numbers, one after the other in sequence, until it got to the bottom. A parallel algorithm is an algorithm which can do multiple operations at a given time. One more time, our long column of numbers. A parallel algorithm would add the numbers for the first two values, then 3 and 4, then 5 and 6, 7, 8. And so then it would take all of those numbers and then add them together, and then it would get the total. So a parallel algorithm can do multiple operations at a given time. That's what you need to know. So it can add all the different numbers together at one time. Serial, bottom to top. Recursive is just going to run over and over and over and solve the easy ones and then the hard ones. Two-factor authentication, sometimes referred to as two-step verification or dual-factor authentication, is a security process in which users provide two different authentication factors to verify themselves. So two-factor authentication methods rely on a user providing a password as the first factor and a second different factor, usually either a security token or a biometric factor such as a fingerprint or a facial scan. An easy way to think about two-factor authentication is its combination of what I know plus what I have. What I know is my username and password. What I have is a fingerprint, a face, a security token that generates a code. So two-factor authentication is a combination of what I know plus what I have. Thank you for watching.